differences between myself and someone who happens to be of the Jewish faith.
Now, Alan, I think you said to me before the show that this Sports Heritage Association includes anyone. These can be high school athletes,
yes.
college. So it's not just the big names, so to
Correct.
speak. And I think I know your favorite big name because you put out a little statue of Sandy Koufax right here on the desk.
Yes. Sandy Koufax, just to give you an idea, back in the dark ages when I was preparing for my bar mitzvah, the cantor in the synagogue there was trying to teach me and a couple of the other students our melody for our prayers, and he was singing it to Sandy Koufax. I figured that would make it stick a little bit better. But yes, in terms of the big name, Sandy Koufax is the one that is my favorite.
How did you get started with this subject?
I've always had an interest in sports. I don't want to say I'm an athletic supporter. There'll be too many people out in the audience laughing.
Too many jokes.
But I have the interest in history, and I have the interest in sports. And what started me with the Hall of Fame was one of the board members out at the Suffolk Y, a gentleman, an attorney by the name of Cliff Bart, wanted to try and do something that would educate Jewish kids about the role Jews have played in sports. And we had several meetings, and as you can imagine, in a Jewish organization, when you have a meeting, you're going to have food and snacks and all that. And basically, we decided, you know what? We're going to create a Hall of Fame. And it would be an educational program. We're going to set aside a little area of our gym facility out in Comac for this Hall of Fame. And it just struck a nerve with me. It lit a fire in me, and I've heard this from many people, whether it was the Maccabi games that we were involved with for many years, or the Hall of Fame. When I talk to people about their playing on our team in Maccabi, they're like, this really stirred up something in me, and it got me into my being Jewish, and I want to learn more about what it means to be Jewish, which I think is a nice goal. Wasn't what I set out to do. As I said, we're just trying to let people know, don't come up with this idea that, Jews aren't athletes. You want the best joke, and it's one most people know. If you ever saw the movie Airplane, where the passenger asked for light reading material, and it's the smallest pamphlet you ever saw called Jewish Sports Legends.
They also have Polish wit and wisdom.
Well, you said that one, Jake, not me. But it does get you.
He's going to be a politician.
Exactly.
It does get you started, because you can come up with any group and you can say, oh, they're known for being whatever, and this gets me showing, hey, don't say that, because you have Jewish football players, and you asked earlier about hockey, and you have professional soccer, and when I say this, you're talking again, men and women. I actually met a nice Jewish attorney from New Jersey. There was a women's professional football league, and she was part of it. I don't think they're still playing, but
the Jewish attorney you met, she was part of the women's professional football league.
She wasn't the agent.
I had to translate that slowly.
Yes.
I was going to say, those words shouldn't go together.
She was exactly right. She was a player in this league, and it was a love of hers, which, again, it kind of blew me away. I don't think the league lasted very long, but something that she did. I don't honestly remember what position she played, but she was part of this. And you have to understand, getting back to your initial question, Jake, my mom, I'm the youngest of three boys, and my mom didn't want her nice Jewish sons growing up playing football. My eldest brother wanted to play American football, so my mom and dad, or my mom, had a little more influence than dad when it came to sports. Did not want us playing American football. Soccer was okay. And we played it through high school, college. My brother played more as an adult up until his master years. I stopped pretty much in my 20s, but the joke was, we'd say, Mom, they're out there from head to toe, covered in pads, helmet, whatever. We're out there in our underwear, maybe shin guards. That's about it. And she thought it wasn't a contact sport. Mm-hmm.
But look what we know today about football, and I bet you give your mother a lot more credit right now for all the injuries. And
no doubt about it. Correct. And they actually show some stuff with the heading in soccer. So every once in a while, my mother-in-law will send an article to my wife saying how bad heading is, and I say, yeah, Nikki, that explains a lot. Why I don't remember something, or I forget it's your birthday. That's my mother-in-law.
It's a good excuse to use.
Yes, exactly.
Now, Alan, how do you actually educate the people? Do you do seminars? Do you write pamphlets, books?
Good question. I do. In answer to the second part of that, we have things that we give out, but first and foremost, I will go out to speak to various groups from little kids up to seniors at no cost to the group. Created a film based on what they said in Airplane, Jewish Sports Legends, and it's about a 35-minute film that shows the Jewish experience. We're just focusing in on the United States. I'm not looking at Jewish athletes for the film all over the world, and it looks at the Jewish experience in sports from the early 20th century till today. What I do when I get to that group, I'm still a little slow on the technology, so I have a DVD. I'm going to put it on my computer, and if they have the capability, show it that way. But I'll talk a little bit about Jews in sports so I can find out what the group knows, start a little bit of a dialogue before the film, then after the film, answer their questions, hopefully. There's always people that want to know about a certain athlete, if they're Jewish or whatever. I'll never forget one little kid swore that Troy Aikman was Jewish, and I love Troy Aikman as a football player, but he's not Jewish.
Don't say that in New York, Alan. Yeah. The Giant fans are going to go nuts.
This is true. So that's the main thing that we do. The other thing is, because of the changes in the world, I have a Facebook page. I'm a little bit on Twitter, not as much as Facebook, and we're going to have our first induction ceremony the end of April, and that'll give the people the opportunity to meet this year's inductees, who, as you mentioned earlier, Bill, they'll be professional athletes, Olympic athletes, high school and college, and these will be from all over the country, so it's not just local. There may be local people, but we're looking at men and women from all over. That, to me, is also key, because it'll put us in the spotlight for that one day. It's the end of April, but mainly the thing is, we want to come into the schools, temples, churches, whatever it is, to talk to groups on the subject. That's our number one way to educate.
Alan, who are some of the current well-known Jewish athletes?
Good question. Ryan Braun is currently playing Major League Baseball. They're not as well-known, but you have Jay Fiedler, an Oceanside product who retired a few years back from playing professional football. Mike Camilleri is playing hockey. Matthew Schneider recently retired from the NHL. You have the Schwartz brothers from the NFL. Jeff just retired, but Mitchell is still with Kansas City. I'm a big soccer fan. The biggest name that I could think of right now is, I think of Yael Averbuch is playing professionally with Kansas City. She was on the women's team. Probably the best known are Allie Reisman, the gymnast, the captain of the women's gymnastics team, U.S. team, and Anthony Irvin, who just won a gold medal in swim at the Olympics.
He's the guy who's tattooed, right?
Yep,
on one side.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're not getting into the pros and cons of tattooing, but Adam Bisnawadi, who came to the Giants. But anyway, you'll see a bunch of names. I don't follow hockey as much, and I'm sorry to say Mike Camilleri is the only one that's coming to mind, but I know there are others.
Jeff Halpern's Jewish, right?
Yes, Jeff Halpern's Jewish.
Former Capital.
He is working in the front office there's a minor league team, I think, in the Albany area, so he's still involved in the sport.
Eric Nystrom's Jewish.
Correct.
Bob's son.
Bob is a sweetheart of a man, and Eric was brought up Jewish. I think Eric just might have retired from the NHL. We had honored him at Suffolk years ago when he was at Michigan, and Michigan, of course, has a top hockey program, and we followed his career all that time.
Alan, if as we're talking, if someone finds this and they say, wow, I didn't know this even existed, do you look for volunteers? Would you accept contributions? And how would people get in touch with you, Alan Freedman, the director?
Oh, that's great. I'm never going to say no to a contribution.
Being offered, not going to turn it down.
A couple of ways. They could reach me via email, ahfreedman, FREEDMAN 142 at AOL.com. And I know people love to tell me that AOL is for old people, but that's too bad. I consider myself an old person, and I'm proud of it. And if they go to our website, it has all the various contacts, www.jewishsportsheritage.com. You can look that name up also on Facebook. We have, I think, a pretty visible presence there. And if you want to give us a call, it's 516-773-2413. But what I look for more than anything else is if you have a group that you think would be interested in learning a little bit more on the subject, please email me or call, and I'd be happy to schedule something so we can talk about the subject of Jews in sports.
Have any athletes told you of any instances of anti-Semitism that they might have experienced?
The ones that come to mind, yes. Marty Glickman and Sam Stoller were the most prominent ones. Nowadays, the nice thing is when I talk to the younger athletes, they usually don't have any examples of anti-Semitism. So I think some of these barriers, stereotypes are coming down, and people are getting more understanding, more tolerant.
Jake, I think that's because our guest is doing a good job spreading the word. Our guest has been Alan Freedman, the director of the Jewish Sports Heritage Association.
Oh, God, here we go.
Jacob Valk.
Oh, my God.
Okay, so here's the story behind this. My mom wanted to come up with a song that I could incorporate my name into, and after about 20 lousy suggestions, she came up with the chicken dance, and I liked it.
What was the second best one?
There wasn't one. Mom, I love you, but...
it works.
Bad ideas.
Yes, radio's my domain. You stay with medicine.
Adding fuel to the fire.
So we got about a minute left. It's time for the bottom of the ninth. Dominic, we'll start with you.
No, we didn't get the basketball, so Dwayne Wade signed to Cleveland Cavaliers. Of course, you got Wade and LeBron back together. That's always going to be fun, making those football passes down the court for dunks. So hopefully they'll be at the same level again. Then also Westbrook again, I got to mention it. He signed that 5-year, $205 million contract. That's big, and he signed it on Kevin Durant's birthday.
Nice way to celebrate it, right?
Happy birthday to the snake.
Eric?
So... Obviously, we all know the situation. The Giants could possibly go 0-4. So, Eli Manning, I need you to play like Joe Montana behind that god-awful offensive line. Hopefully get a win in Tampa.
It's not Eli's fault, even though they're a Giant fan.
I know that, but the offensive line, you got to give him room to play, and it's got to happen.
So, we will be airing the Nassau Lions football game tomorrow. Dominic, you're going to be engineering it.
He's going to be with me
and
for the
Eric's going to be
show.
with you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
nice.
Yeah.
Good.
The dynamic duo.
I will be
Joe
listening.
Buck and Troy Aikman.
The Batman and Robin of
Literally. Batman
WHPC. All right. Looks like we're about out of time here on Beyond the Game. For Dominick Arbolino and Eric Fischetti, I'm Jacob Valk saying that the definition of boredom is having to listen to someone talk about themselves when I want to talk about me.